If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, this is the podcast that you want to listen to. My name is Larry Bammer with One Real Mortgage, and I have great professionals here to interview to educate you on what's going on in the market. I am fired up today with my guest, Eric Babcock, from the Babcock team at Real Brokerage on so many levels. Orange County agent, just crushing it, but also at the same brokerage that I'm licensed at. So it's like talking to a brother from a different mother.
Yes, sir.
So let's get right into it. Tell me about your team.
So my team is a partnership with me and my mom. It's worked out for us because I come from a family of 5 boys. Wouldn't have worked personality-wise with anyone else, but me and her get along great. It's been 5 years in the business. She's been in the industry for 20-plus years. So I've always grown up around it.
Yeah.
But now we have a great dynamic that she brings a lot of experience, and me coming to the team to bring different marketing tactics, techniques, utilizing the technology that Real Broker provides that otherwise, sorry, Mom, that she did not understand whatsoever. A little over her head, but she'll attest to that. We stick to our strengths, and it's very compatible to make our team actually have the success that we've been having. And transaction coordinator, marketing director, so a tight-knit team that we're looking to kind of grow next year as transactions look to like they're going to be ticking up. So we're excited.
Yeah. I've been in the industry now in Orange County for 18 years, and I have known of her name for that long. So definitely the household name in the real estate industry. So yeah, I can see why you like. I know that there's husband and wife teams, the spouse teams can work. The mother-daughter, mother-son teams, I see them across the country in Tom Ferry ecosystems, like crushing it, doing well. So that's exciting. What are you, of the 5 brothers, are you like?
I'm smack in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yep, got 2 older, 2 younger.
None of them wanted to be in real estate?
I know, it's shocking, right? You'd think everyone would want to work in this industry. This is what we grew up wanting. It's complete sarcasm, but it just kind of happened organically, where my oldest brother, he went to enlist with the Army, is now in cancer research, set the bar pretty high. My other brother's a firefighter up in the Bay Area, set the bar pretty high. So I figured, you know what, I'll get into real estate.
Yeah, and at least keep mom happy.
Exactly. So we'll see.
Gotcha. So and then you're licensed in 2 states.
Correct.
How does that work?
So it kind of worked out where I moved very briefly from California. You see the mass exodus that's happening of everyone looking for greener pastures, whether it's Idaho or Nashville, Tennessee, or in my case, it was Texas, just north of Austin. So I got a young family, so I was looking at the pros and cons in terms of living situation, affordability. So when I moved out there last year, I got licensed. I joined Real Broker. That really opened up my network to being in every single state that I wasn't accustomed to here, because I was part of more of a small boutique local brokerage here initially.
Yep.
And going out there really broadened our business because it let me tap into a network that was nationwide and really helped me to tap into the potential of all the people that were making this move, because it could be overwhelming. You want to make sure, especially if you're selling your California house, moving to a different state, you want to make sure those timelines line up. Otherwise, there's a gap of homelessness that you sell your house and the home being built wasn't communicated properly. There's no congruency on that level. So I got super excited. I moved out there, was able to maintain both licenses and tailor to that type of client of moving out of state, and brought us back home, actually, because now family's everything. We were talking a little earlier about that, where going out there, we're seeing all the young families go out there, but then as the family grows and maybe they stay there a little longer, they realize you can't put a value on family. And babysitting is a huge value as well, so that's built in. But just the enjoyment, the memories they get by being around the grandparents, their cousins, their aunts, uncles, that was truly invaluable. So we moved on back, but from that, I got so much experience opening me up to Real Broker that has allowed our business to provide tailored marketing experiences and services to each individual on that personal level.
Yeah. So do you still practice actively in Texas?
Right now, I have a bit of a network that helps me out with it because it's hard to be the boots on the ground.
Sure.
From afar, I like to look at national data, but then also where I'm specifically, like Austin, Texas market, completely different than the market that we're in here today. Like Redfin came out with a graphic that I love graphics. It's a nice little visual. And usually the consensus is inventory's low. Yeah. Across the board, but then you see this little blue mark because everything's red, inventory low, little blue mark in the Austin, Texas area. So it's important when you're having these conversations, especially people that are selling in California and moving to a different market, to be familiar with those and how to transition the conversation to somebody that is the boots on the ground while also knowing what's going on there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a huge point. If you're listening and you're leaving California, like I told you, I'm going to be one of those people in 2025. If you're leaving California, you definitely want to reach out to Eric because that's exactly it. Like you've done that, you know the process, you know everything from like moving companies, you know like you know the boots on the ground there, and the brokerage you're at being in all of the states. Like if you're moving to Tennessee, or I think Florida is another state people are moving to. Not only do you have that network you're talking about, but you've done it. Right. So you can speak to how it's done best. Yeah. So when you got your license, you were at a different brokerage. Who had the conversation first? You or your mom about switching to real?
That was all me, because when I was moving out to Texas, I had to do some research on, what is a brokerage out there that aligns with what I'm trying to do here, because my boutique brokerage I was a part of, obviously they're localized. They're not anywhere else in the country. So I had to do my research, and it just seemed there was a common theme of social media influencers that were so prominent with their presence that all of them were at real. Yeah. I'm like, this is crazy. The first one being Jeremy Knight. He's my sponsor, where I just kept on asking him questions, picking his brain, made the process super easy, where I'm like, I've never experienced a collaborative community like this, because it's intimidating being in a brand new market where I didn't know the streets. Here, I'm born and raised, so I know the neighborhoods, I know the subdivisions, I know the schools, everything. Going out there, starting from scratch, it's a little intimidating. So having a community where I can just tap in, ask a question, get a game plan, a blueprint of this is what you should do prior to coming to the market, first 30 days, next 60 days, and it was just a game plan of what I should be doing to have success. And once I experienced that, my mom saw it from afar, because I was more the marketing director for the California business while I launched the Texas business. Yeah. And it was evident that there was something different that was happening that was allowing me to find this success. So it was a very easy conversation when I was preparing to come back. I'm like, I can't go back to that last brokerage. I'm sorry. So here's the business plan. Here's why I've had the success, how I've had the success, how it has allowed me to find that. What do you want to do? Yeah. And it took a while because she was comfortable. She had her systems, and I get that. So it took a lot, but at the end of the day, it did come down with how our business aligned with this move, and it became a no-brainer. From the finances to the growth and our goals, everything just lined up perfectly.
Well, and that just collaborative, showing your playbook. I mean, when you were when you were going to Texas, to Austin, Jeremy, he's in your same market. So like he's showing you his playbook, and you're a competitor. Right. But that's the collaborative, that's the culture of real that I'm familiar with too, that why agents are going from other independent brokerages, from bigger national brokerages, from brokerages that are the same model. I won't say what company, but you probably can guess. Yep. Hush, hush. But yeah, that's a big one. What the tech side of it, since you are more tech savvy, as you said, and than your mom. What has been some of the tech that she's been able to adopt?
It's been a lot on the marketing side of things, of utilizing digital marketing campaigns, but in terms of tech, the tech that Real provides, of just streamlining the process from a transaction standpoint, because that was one thing that strikes a lot of fear in agents, where they're at a place that maybe they're taking a larger split, but they have everything built out for them. That's where we were coming from. It was a larger, taking home less money, but they took care of the transaction, all the back end, the documentation, all the storage. So having to not worry about rebuilding that was huge for us, because that's something that Real has taken the time to not only utilize something similar to like a Glide or a Sky Slope and actually have the proprietary technology for their own, and allow us to use it, and then just streamline it so that even myself, I don't consider myself super tech savvy. It's just my age, my generation just kind of comes naturally. So even my mom figured it out. She'd get in there and be easy, streamlined, and it allowed us to focus on the business, not in the business.
Yeah, that's huge. So if you're a solo agent and you're out there in Orange County and you struggle like a lot of people do. If I know I want to do better in 2024. I know I need to make a move. I don't know what to do. Like you'll grab a coffee or a phone call with them confidentially and have that conversation. I know that all-in-one platform is huge.
Right.
Because you're right. If you're leaving your comfort of your old brokerage and you're going into something new like Real, you're like, oh man, I gotta learn something else. But like, I know I did the same thing. I had one transaction, and I was shocked that it was that easy.
Right.
Like, I didn't even have to watch any YouTube videos on how to use Bolt and upload it into their version of SkySlope and send something to DocuSign. Do you use their marketing center at all?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I use that combined with some of the Canva templates I put together, so that sometimes they provide the guidelines, like the listing presentations that they put together, launching all these new rebrands. So it's definitely been a lot easier on the marketing side of things, that we can just create to make it our own, send it to our guy, get it to print, all good to go, and make it easy. And to your point of the collaborative community of having the coffee, talking to people, sharing what's working, I brought that back with me, because gone are the days where you're looking at another agent as their competitor, because it's not a one size fits all. I've learned that what works for me won't necessarily work for you. It's a personality thing. So even if I tell you, hey, this is what's working for me, these are where I'm getting my leads, this is what my follow-up looks like, that once we get on the phone, totally different conversation, different way that we present ourselves. Maybe the phone's not for you. So there's cool ways to look at the collaborative part of things, knowing that, hey, we're helping each other, but you can also not just take it and make it your own. I know in the Tom Ferry network, it's R&D, the rip off and duplicate, basically just making it your own and make sure that aligns with you and your personality. So that's what has allowed Real to be super successful in my eyes, because it's an environment that allows agents to kind of put down their guard and focus on what's important, and that's serving the client.
Yeah. Before I get into what's going on in Orange County in the market, what would you say if you're a realtor out there, or you want to get into real estate, you want to get your license and get into real estate? What are the 3 top things that you love about Real or attracted you to Real? What should the agent audience know about Real Brokerage?
Well, first and foremost, that collaborative piece. I had never experienced that. I went to a brokerage that was more of a team environment, but still of the old school mentality of, look, just make your calls. And as a new agent, it was intimidating, because who do I call? At the time, I'm in my mid-20s. No one's buying a home in their mid-20s here in Southern California. So I'm not going to go through my phone book and say, hey, I'm now in real estate, want to buy something? Not going to work. So I had to kind of figure it out on my own. My mom also established in business, so she was just getting people calling her. So when you go to ask people, what do I do? I wasn't getting the direction. So it was a huge wake-up call when I had that introduction to Real. And I was like, wait, this is how it's supposed to be? You're telling me all this? Like, you're not going to charge me for it or put it behind a paywall, do any of this, and I can just follow this step by step, or try this, try that. And sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, because now you just have so many options of where you can find the success. But picking one and just trying it out, seeing how it works, following through on it and executing, that was by far the number one thing with real, where I was like, this does not feel like real estate. This does not feel like the same industry. They're doing something different to allow everyone to succeed on a friendlier, more collaborative environment. So
collaboration's one.
Correct. And then obviously number two, financial model. I didn't join initially for that.
Mm-hmm.
It was immediately just the communication that I had with Jeremy that just blew my socks off, and I was like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And it just turned out the cherry on top was the finances of it. Realizing that, these are very opportunistic splits. I'm getting how much? I'm keeping this, retaining that. And it wasn't even until a few months in did I find out about the revenue share plan, and really digging into the multiple forms of income that you can earn at Real. So it really was only just two things for me at the beginning. And as I'm going on, they just keep on unraveling because they're continuing to release new technology with the Real Wallet and all these new exciting features to help optimize the agent for their success, but really building the wealth for the future, because everyone's experienced it in today's market. The transactions are historically low. Everyone's having some challenges right now. So looking at it of being able to weather any storm and build a weatherproof business plan, then that's what Real has really focused on, of allowing the agents to have the success in the finance space.
Yeah. So in finance, you've got the capping. So if you're at a brokerage where you're paying a certain split year round, when you get to that $12,000 cap, then that split goes away. Revenue share, agent attraction. So those that see Real as the right place, like you did, because of the culture and collaboration, tech, branding, there's a financial benefit to you bringing on new agents. And the at the conference when they talked about the wallet and the credit card, I was like blown away.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I can get rid of my Chase card that does me no good, and I can start using my credit card, and the points that I get off of it will pay towards my fees.
Right.
I was like, wow, they do a lot of just innovative stuff. You're like, the industry doesn't do that or something.
Yeah, they won Innovator of the Year with Inman because of things like that. It's like, hey, we didn't see a real problem, but we have a solution that could make the agent's lives even better.
Yeah.
And the conversations continue. Just the people that are attracted to Real tend to be the just like-minded individuals that are driven and just want to do right by the community. And that's built into our ICA agreement, where I love the fact that there's no recruiting. That was another reason too, where those conversations with Jeremy, where I was asking the questions, I was genuinely curious. Not once did he those typical phone calls you get. Hey, I'm reaching out on behalf of blah blah blah. He wanted me to give you a call. Have you thought about coming? That's not even allowed.
Yeah.
So I love that fact where we're real estate agents at heart. We're serving our clients. If we can attract more agents to come over, that's a great cherry on top as well. But we're not in the business of recruiting, and I loved that.
Yeah. Okay, so collaboration, financial. What's the third benefit?
It stopped there. I only needed the two, but then that's when I found out the rev share was definitely comfortable knowing that in the future I have an additional source of income to get through any sort of challenging times.
Yeah. Well, their CTO, Pratesh, I think he's going to blow the industry's socks off next year when he releases more tech. I think Real's going to be known as not only the tech and being forward thinking, innovative, but also the culture. Okay, so you shared a little bit about mother-son team. You've been doing it for a little bit with her. What was your journey getting into real estate? Why did you choose real estate and not firefighter like your brother or going to the military?
It kind of happened organically. It's kind of backed into it, where I've always been in the consumer-centric space, always in sales, always on the being a sales manager at a gym growing up. School was never for me. I didn't like to read. I didn't like to do any of that, but I loved working with people. So I always went from these different managerial standpoints where it was consumer facing, then ended up going business to business. And funny thing is, I found myself working with another innovator locally here that they created eco-friendly dog waste bags that were made from vegetables. So it was a way to reduce plastic pollution. He had this great idea, was putting together the formula for it, and just needed someone to sell it. So I'm like, I'm your guy. This is fun. I'll go business to business. I was going to the governments trying to sell dog poop bags of all things, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. But it turns out not many people want to buy poop bags, even if it's reducing plastic waste. So it caused me to look around and look at, hey, I need a long-term solution. This is great. I'm excited, but I've had my mom probably about every so often, twice a year, she'll be like, hey, there's real estate over here. And it wasn't until her partner had retired that she's like, I'm trying out this solo thing. It's not really, I don't really like it. How about you get your license? I'll pay for it. Come on over and we'll make it work. Yeah. And that's all it took because I was kind of tapped out of selling poop bags. And it seemed a lot more fun because I've already been in the space of dropping off the flyers, being around my mom long enough to understand how it works, and
growing up and seeing her hustle at open houses, and throwing community events and stuff like that. You grow up in that industry. You kind of learn.
Yeah, you get an idea of what to anticipate and because the test itself, there isn't much that you retain from that in terms of, I need to know the riparian rights of water running through a backyard. And we're in Southern California, Orange County. I never applied a lot from the test itself. But when you have somebody like my mom that was able to show the framework of the business in itself, from the open houses, from the conversations and what that actually looks like, to meeting the people and all those things, the little things that aren't on the test, that made the transition very easy.
Yeah. What's been the most rewarding thing about aspect in real estate for you?
It might be a little corny, but it's helping those people get into a home because it is the largest transaction of one's life. Unless you're buying these crazy cars, which you shouldn't be. You should be buying real estate. But generally speaking, it's the largest transaction in anyone's life. So being a part of that and not only being involved with it, but knowing that you're getting their trust to guide them through it, and seeing how their excitement is and navigating the whole transaction from a personal level and knowing that, hey, I'm your advisor and you're trusting me with this. So I take that to heart. I'm making sure that I'm going to bat for you every step of the way. So that's the most rewarding, where it's not just a transaction. I don't even like to think of it as sales. We're advisors to our clients, and ultimately it's going to change their life, and that's how it should be looked at. And it's so rewarding that even beyond the transaction, you've just made a friend for life, where you're following up, you're checking in, and not even supposed to use the word follow up. You're now relational. You're like, hey, how are the kids? How's the holidays? Did you see this? And just building a friendship from that I've learned from my mom. She's very relational. That's how she's built success of. Now she can sit back on the laurels of her work and just her phone rings from referrals from past clients. Yes, exactly, because they know, like, and trust her. Yeah. So that's something that I've took to heart, knowing that if I'm building out these relationships, not only am I building my network and my friendships, but it's ultimately going to help my business as well.
Nice. So the transaction, if you're listening, it's the roller coaster of emotions. You're anxiety. You're nervous. You get to that finish line, and why you're doing this is that rewarding part. Probably that very end, that day that you're meeting him at the property to give him that key. Walk me through what that's like.
It can be, you can see the emotions that are running through them, and depending on the transaction, you yourself probably feel a lot of different emotions depending on how that roller coaster kind of went through. But I think that's what builds the bonds even more with your clients, because then if you're able to navigate it, you have that transparency that you're having those conversations each day with those type of updates, so that there are no surprises, so that by the time you get to that end with that key, it's kind of like a breath. Like, you can breathe, but more importantly, the client's satisfied, they're happy, now they're excited, but it doesn't stop there. I know that's where us as an industry tend to drop the ball, where it's transactional. Hey, great, here's your house, see you later.
That's why the National Association of Realtors has that statistic of 82 or 83%. I liked my realtor, but I didn't use them again.
Right.
Staying in touch with them, genuinely over the years is what makes that difference, and how you level up.
Right.
Like, if you're going to be transactional, you're going to do a few deals a year. If you're going to be in a relationship business, you're going to have those come list me calls that you're getting. What's a one memorable experience of a transaction?
This one was unique. I like to go back to this example because I see it probably going to be happening again in this next year, because it was one of those things right in the heart of COVID. So it was very unique of trying to navigate where they had a house to sell, but they needed to find out where they were moving to. So that's going to be a problem with how low inventory is moving into next year, that all these people that are ready to move up, they've gained equity, they're in a solid position, their family may have grown, or they want their forever home.
Yep.
They need to sell their home and buy their next one, but what are they going to buy? There's nothing on the market. So we were able to deploy letters, different campaigns specifically about what are you looking for? Having that transparent conversation that's like, hey, let's dial it down to the grain of what is your next home and what does it look like? What does it have? What's the neighborhood? What are the features, the characteristics? Do you want to view? All these boiled down until we start driving neighborhoods and we start leaving letters. There's digital marketing campaigns you run to target these specific areas based on title information. So we're just by necessity, just on that one transaction, really opened up a whole new campaign that I'm going to focus on next year, because it's a huge value add that I don't think a lot of buyers agents are really bringing to the table, where it's like, look, just when you're looking on the market, that's great. You're getting familiar with areas, but just know that we can go find you the home. Yeah. We can create the opportunity. And that's exactly what happened. That had the response from a letter, had two of them. One of them they're okay with, and I let them know, hey, it'll take time. Don't settle. This is your next home. This is going to be forever home, and make sure that it's exactly what you want. The second home we walked in, that was it. They wanted it. They loved it. And it worked a lot easier to line up the timelines as well, because the purchase was off market. So that seller was a little more flexible of like, you know what? Yeah, go sell your house. We'll use the funds from that. We'll close concurrently, make sure things are perfect, good to go. And that's how it worked. And that blew my mind, where I was like, I feel like there's an opportunity here.
Yeah. So we know in the industry, like, you as a listing agent do not get compensation. You don't get your fee and get paid until the home's sold, a day or two after it's sold, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So this driving around, this letters, the door knocking and meeting these people that would consider, I'll sell your home. Like, all of that work that you're doing for your client, you haven't even earned any compensation, any money for it. Like, that's the hustle that you're doing for your move up buyers to get them into a home,
right,
when they otherwise would have, the average realtor tell them like, oh, let me put a sign in the yard, we'll just get you an offer and we'll get your home in escrow and then we'll worry about it.
Right.
You're taking that anxiety out and just working hard for them,
right,
to find them that home.
And that's what I think is great about this type of market that we're in, because it's doing out the weeding process. I mean, there's data everywhere that it's challenging for a lot of us agents. We're trying these new things, needing to get back to the basics and providing the necessary services that it's our fiduciary duty to provide to our clients. And previously, with the boom from the previous cycle, it brought on a lot of new agents, a lot of new realtors that thought, to your point, that I'm going to put a sign in the yard, post pictures, let it syndicate to the consumer sites, and it'll sell, which granted it did. But now that the challenges have presented themselves, you're having to do the work. You're having to get back to doing those type of things for your buyers in a low inventory market. What can I do to find their home off market that no bids, no nothing on their timeline so that it works. What are some creative ways I can do that? And that's really been something that's been eye-opening, where it's like there's so much opportunity on the buy side as well, because we have dropped the ball as an industry of not providing a clear scope of work of what we provide to clients as a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
They just think we're door openers, or we just write the contract and then we're there to take money, and that's it. So we've dropped the ball, and I think it's on us to really clarify what our tasks are, what are the benefits of working with a buyer's agent, especially now, because they're going to have to be the creative one in order to set them up for success.
Yeah. Well, clearly you guys at the Babcock team are doing that. You way more work ahead of time to, as you should, to justify your buyer. So
it's building trust.
Yeah. Technology. I know you touched on a little bit that you're more tech savvy than your mom, but how do you think, maybe not even as real, we talked about that, but let's just say in the industry that you see, how is technology and innovation changing the face of real estate for us? Like, what do you see out there in technology that is going to improve how we do business, how clients experience real estate transaction moving forward in the near future?
Well, the hot topic is AI. I mean, everyone's trying to utilize it in any sort of way to try to leverage it for their business and maybe help the process itself and provide a better service to their clients. So there's many creative ways that people are utilizing that, whether it's writing certain scripts or copywriting for more visibility online, and basically utilizing it as an assistant to free up more time on the important income generating activities. So that's kind of the things that we're doing as well, and trying to leverage the technology to take away from the things that aren't important, because we're consumer facing. We're the ones that are going to bat. We're the therapist, the lawyer, the this, the that. We're everything. So when we're working in the business, that takes us away from that. So the benefit to consumers on that standpoint is knowing that things are streamlined, especially to talk to Reel again. Their one Reel is designed to keep everything in one spot, where previously it was like your transaction documents are over here, and then this is over there, and then you have to worry about this. So having technology where everything is localized so that they don't have to worry about anything. And then they came out with the, because I'm, again, a visual person, the pizza tracker idea, where how come with Domino's you can know exactly your pizza's being made, your pizza's in the oven, it's been packed up, it's out for delivery. What about your home purchase or your home sale? Of those milestones of what's happening. So utilizing technology like that to provide additional transparency to the consumer, so that when they're buying a home, they know what are the next steps, what does the buyer roadmap look like, or when they're selling the home, it's like, okay, now that we accepted an offer, now what does that look like? So there's automations to put that out there so that everyone is on the same page, no surprises, and just streamlines the whole process.
I know the One Real Mortgage app has that pizza tracker, the type things, application submitted, underwriting, conditionally approved, that sort of thing, to make it better for you, so you know what's going on in the transaction, and also the borrowers, and it probably brings down the level of questions. I actually asked, so in Real's main platform, they have something called Leo, and I. Talking about one thing being, in all one place, I actually asked once, when does this transaction close? And in seconds, it popped up, gave me the answer.
Right.
Whereas I didn't have to go in and find the PDF and scroll down, and when's the close of escrow or whatever. So, yeah, I think as more agents adopt that sort of thing, to be able to find that question like in seconds, which when do I close is a pretty common question.
Right.
AI, it's true. I actually used AI, ChatGPT, to come up with these questions.
There you go. Tried and true.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't ask me to ask you, are you using ChatGPT?
So yes, of course.
Yeah.
If you're not, then you're falling a little behind. And that's what's been great about Reel too, is like, okay, how do I use it?
Yeah.
It's like, and the more you play around with it, there seems to be something new every day, where now people are creating these cool images with the new DALL-E, or I didn't even know the name of it, but there's a feature in ChatGPT 4 that allows you to create images based on the description that you provide. So whether that's social media content, video creation, thumbnails, things like that, that they're utilizing that for. So it's been huge on the marketing side of things, and then also as just an additional assistant where you can be like, hey, I need a marketing plan, and this is my business, this is what it looks like, this is who I serve, build me out a marketing plan. And it just shoots down an entire relevant marketing plan that you can tailor to your own business.
Yeah. And in the agent training and Real Academy, they have training about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Okay. So, bringing that back to Orange County, what are some current trends you're seeing in Orange County in the market?
Well, we're finally getting seasonality again. So it's kind of getting back to normal cycles in the market where previously these last, it's already 2023, almost 24, that these last few years have been unheard of, unprecedented because of how much money they printed and the interest rates going down and how much appreciation we've seen.
Yeah.
So we're now finally seeing some seasonality, and we're just hoping that inventory comes up because there's still activity, there's still buyers, and they've all been waiting where we need to see a consistent drop in mortgage rates in order for more buyers to come in, because just the fact that they dropped from what they were up to like 8% and then now they're low 7s and 4 consecutive weeks or so of purchase applications and listing and RSM, we got to experience that over the weekend. Even in December when things there's supposed to be a lull, there's nothing happening, they're out there. So it is a bit cooled as well where prices, we're seeing some reductions happening, but that's just because the seasonality is back. But in terms of bigger picture, prices are still strong. And forecasting moving forward, hopefully affordability is what's going to help a lot of buyers get into the game. So it's more of being creative. The buyers that are buying are using the creative tools like you probably doing buy downs or helping them fix the affordability currently so that in the future they'll go ahead and refinance and figure out at that time. So it's been interesting to say the least, and it's still very challenging, but nice to see some normalcy.
Yeah. Just before I left to come here today and talk to you, I saw the home price expectation survey came out for Q4, and I was shocked. If you're wondering where the market's going to be at, so I took $430,000 is, I mean, it's more like a home in Texas, right? Not here, and you can't even get a 1-bedroom condo, I think, for $430 anymore. But if we did the national average by 2028. If you look at the middle of the expectation survey, they were saying that home appreciation was going to go up 25%.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's like if you're buying a house now and we use that average, 430,000, by 2028 you'll have made $100,000 in wealth.
Yep.
Just buying a house.
And that's why we've learned that you can never time the market. It's nearly impossible, and if you on average are in your home minimum 5 years, but on average it's more like 10 to 15 years
now,
and it's always up, it's always going to appreciate, and if it's not, just wait a little longer, then it will be. So that's why as the advisor not going into the sales, everyone's situation is different. Maybe they can afford to now, it's all about the monthly of what they can comfortably afford, but knowing that, hey, moving forward, all these clickbait articles are driving me crazy of we're going to see a huge crash. And that's why it's super important to be so localized in your market data, because it may be true in like maybe in Austin where they are seeing a lot of decline in prices because of the surplus of inventory. But here we have the opposite problem. We don't have enough homes. And as rates do go down to fix affordability, supply is still millions of homes nationally undersupplied. So I'm not a smart man, as Forrest Gump would say, but supply and demand go hand in hand, and if demand goes up, supply needs to catch up, and we're still just too low right now. Way
off, yeah. You mentioned like knowledgeable in the market. What area of Southern California? What does your team focus on?
Orange County, and more specifically South Orange County.
Okay.
So pretty much we're here in beautiful Newport Beach. So
can't beat it.
Sorry everyone out there in Texas, but Because in every pocket can be different, where there's a little more dense areas. Like I'm based in Rancho Santa Margarita, which off the top of your head, people probably don't know exactly where that is. But understanding localized data and inventory levels from even a city by city standpoint, because you can even take the Orange County data as a whole. North Orange County is going to be totally different than South Orange County. So we still customize in the Orange County as a whole, but also it's very important to dive deeper on local data, analyzing what the economists are saying. There's a lot of good economists in the area that plug into very local data and pull that for us so that we can be the knowledge broker.
Nice. So if you're listening and you're thinking about making a move to Orange County or skedaddle like I am, you want that knowledge expert. So definitely reach out to Eric at the end. We'll make sure he plugs how to get a hold of him.
Right.
Future predictions. You kind of talked about where the market you think. What's the greatest opportunity in the coming years in real estate?
Well, the sooner the better you can buy.
Yeah.
And again, everyone's financial situation is different, so I'm not going to sit up here and try to sell anybody, because at the end of the day, it's a huge purchase. So if you're not ready, you can't afford it, then you can't afford it, and you're not going to miss the boat. Obviously, the sooner the better, just based on the projections and the outlook moving forward, because California, they think that prices will continue to go up. I'm of that belief as well, that just because of where we are with demand and supply won't keep up with the amount of demand that's going to come once we see a 6 handle on the interest rates. So it'll be interesting to see how people are able to fix affordability with potentially rising home prices as well. So
another opportunity, I think you mentioned very beginning that you're looking to grow your team.
Mm-hmm.
What does an opportunity look like for someone that wants to get into real estate, or maybe they already are, maybe they're a solo agent and they're struggling and they want to have the tools and that guidance of long-term experience, knowledge that your mom brings to the table. What does that opportunity look like for them?
It's exciting because it's only up from here. So I've had a few conversations of telling people like, look, if you've thought about it, don't let the headlines intimidate you. Yes, it's very challenging right now, but that's the greatest opportunity for growth, because it's refining the agents that are able to find success here and building out the system so that when you align with the right team, the right broker, whatever it may be, you can find success by knowing that these are the people that have weathered this storm, and transactions will go up. I think based on the outlook, I mean, since we're so low, there's no way we can go below it, and they're projecting that it will go up. And I think based on the type of demographics we have here in Orange County, people like yourself that are moving out of state, so more of those will start happening because they're getting fatigued with interest rates. And once they do see it drop down, that's when they're going to be like, okay, I've seen it long enough up in the 7 and 8. Now that it's 6, that's good enough for me. So I see it starting pretty strong next year, end of January. That's when conversations are happening now. We already have somebody lined up for April that's going to be moving to Idaho. So we already have start the process now, get everything planned out. But for a new agent that was looking to potentially get into the industry, people are leaving right now. So there's opportunity if you come in, you have the right mindset, you have the right support system, and you'll be able to find success.
For that first-time home buyer that wants to find success, what's the best advice you have for them?
Ask mom and dad. It's difficult because I'm of the age, I'm 31 years old, so I have tons of first-time home buyers that I'm having these conversations where a lot of them are just waving the white flag. They're like, it's just not possible. I can't do it. I ran the numbers. I've done this. It's like, okay, well, look at it this way. You need to align with people like yourself, a lender and myself. Because when you have those conversations from the get-go, sometimes we have not a clear belief of what it actually looks like to buy a home. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're a little shocked when they go through the actual process of saying, hey, if I buy at this rate or if I wait at this rate, and really have a lender that breaks down a blueprint of their true affordability. Because that's where people just stop and they look at, prices are crazy, I can't afford this. You'd be shocked to know that sometimes when you go through the pre-approval process, you have those conversations with a lender and a realtor, and you line up a blueprint for what that process looks like and set some goals. Because even if you get qualified for something that you're like, that doesn't exist, So then you play the hypotheticals of, so what will I need to do here in order to afford this?
Then, yeah.
So that's the blueprints that we sit down and we're like, look, so this is your goal. Let's dial it in. This is where you want to be. So right now you qualify for this. After talking to the lender, if you fix these factors, if you save up X amount, if you do this, if you find gift money, if you find that, then you'll qualify for X.
So of all the first time home buyers that you help, what percentage actually buy right off the bat their forever home, like their, versus the first step entry into home ownership?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that, because having that mindset is what's going to help first-time homebuyers get into the industry. Because leveraging your first home, like I just had a friend that bought an awesome condo, 737 square feet, just him and his girlfriend.
Yep.
It's updated, great location, great everything, but he knows that in 10 years he's going to be moving.
Yeah.
But you get in there, you get a spot that you're building equity in, so that you can then leverage that into your next home, and then in your next home. It's just a process that once you can get in, if you can make a spot work for the time being and you experience the appreciation that South Orange County or Orange County as a whole provides you over the next 5 to 10 years, then you can cash in on that and continue to step up until you're in your forever home.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many people that I think they want that forever home, but if you get into that entry level, like, okay, and I don't even think it's 10 years now. I think for some of the people that if the home doesn't appreciate 25% over 5 years, and I could make $150,000 of extra money in equity, plus having bought down or paid down that mortgage, like that's the best way. Now I use that money to buy that next home. So sit down with you. Don't get discouraged, and map out, plan out what that actually looks like. Don't just do the napkin math. I think no, I can't afford what I want. Actually, come up with a plan.
Yeah, it's that Zillow little calculator that totally taints everyone's mindset, where they're like, it says this is my monthly, and that's sometimes completely off. So having that conversation of transparency that's paired with the lender of breaking down what that blueprint looks like, then it's golden for them.
Yep. What strategies going into this next year where we need inventory, what strategies do you recommend to make a property stand out in a competitive market? So if you're listening, you're watching, and you own a home and you're going to make a move, and you want to work with a professional team to do it, what's the advice to give to that homeowner out there?
That was a big thing joining Real. Their technology, their support, the innovators behind Real, like a Jeremy Knight or Brad McCallum, that they're leveraging different ways to market a property in ways that will increase visibility across the internet. Because nowadays you can't just talking with older agents that are like, yeah, I'm going to do an open house, stick a sign up, and then let it syndicate to all the consumer sites, and hopefully something will happen. So being a little more diligent in those type of campaigns of where is your Google PPC going, where's Facebook ads, and then YouTube is huge now, where you got to leverage video assets. And now that YouTube has streaming with YouTube TV, and people are utilizing that, instead of commercials, you got ads popping up on their TV. So there's so many different opportunities in terms of technology, and then being in an ecosystem like Real to talk to the people that have done it at a very high level.
And learn that well.
Exactly, to keep on growing and realize, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. Oh, you're doing this? I'm going to now implement that. So there's so many ways to grow with this type of platform and really find the success with listing, because it's not one size fits all too for the house. Depending on the house, you want to have a tailored marketing campaign for that, whether it's a multi-million-dollar one or a condo. A lot of it is the same, but in ways you shoot it from like a video standpoint, photography, where you're going to place ads, that all depends as well. So they all get the same kind of treatment, but you really have to be specialized in what those ads look like, what's the copy for it, so that it actually, rather than just putting something up, you got to make sure it performs.
Yeah. So tailored marketing plan for your home. Don't just hire the average agent or the discounted agent because they're going to do the old sign of the yard, take photos from their own phone. And you can tell when you look at the MLS or on Zillow,
just a little
you
bit.
can tell, is this a professional photo or was this their iPhone 7?
Right.
Yeah. Since you threw out some names, Brad, Jeremy, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Ken Pozak or my mentor. Shout out, movie to Texas, Katie Day.
There we go. There you go.
Now she'll owe me a coffee next time I see her.
Perfect.
Okay, so most importantly, thanks for coming on and just the knowledge that you have in the industry, in the market to help home buyers and sellers in Orange County is huge. Thank you for sharing a lot today on for the industry. So those that want to get into real estate, those that are in real estate and are struggling or trying to find that North Star, how do they get a hold of you?
I'm on Instagram. It's at Eric Babcock _real estate. You can find me there. That's probably where I'm most active. I'm on Facebook as well. I try to be accessible. I'm trying to get with the new age TikTok as well. So I'm increasing visibility on that just to open up more channels for conversations with more people. So that's where I can be found.
If I go to your TikTok, that's where the dance
you won't find me doing that. But I'm trying to find ways to get my personality out there without having to drop it like it's hot.
All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in to our podcast, Listen to Larry. You can find me on our social media, on all the podcast channels. Listen to Larry on YouTube at Lender Larry Bammer and Facebook and Instagram Larry Bammer. Thanks for watching. Hope provided amazing value, and stay tuned for the next episode. You never know who my guest might be.